Hi, I'm Marshall Jones. I'm the managing editor of infonews.ca. I'm here with Shannon Ainsley, our Kamloops reporter, and Georgina Whitehouse, our Kelowna reporter. You guys, we've had quite a cold snap here. We've had some really strange weather so far this winter. But this is obviously having a big impact out there. Shannon, can you tell us what you've learned about what's going on in Kamloops today?
Yes, I have. I think the biggest tragedy that's occurred in the last few days is the death of a woman who has been living on our streets in and out of using services. And her name is Erica, and her body was found outside under a tarp in the North Shore. That was on January the 8th. And it's not determined exactly what her cause of death is. Um, some people are wondering if it was drug related, but I don't. Those are meshed. A lot of people, as I understand from a shelter worker, Glenn Hilke, will use more drugs anyway because of the pain of the cold of being outside. So she did die outside in the cold. So regardless, it's really shaken some people in the community up.
So we don't know exactly, as you said, how she died. Police aren't going to tell us. The coroners aren't going to tell us. This is just what you're hearing from people you know who, touch these people in the streets, and this is what they're hearing. This is what they're saying. How's it been good? That was on the 8th, you said. We've gone through a very cold weekend here. I know you're chasing down some other things in Kamloops there. Sounds like this might not be the only one.
Yeah, there have been some reports to me, anyways, of other losses out in the streets that I'm working on digging up and getting some information on. Um, and I have talked to two agency executive directors, and they are saying people with cold injuries, pneumonia, and bronchitis as well. So it's a dangerous situation.
All right. Georgie, you were out on the rail trail in Kelowna. What did you see when you stopped by there on Friday?
Yeah, rows and rows of tents. I spoke to some outreach workers with the Kelowna Gospel Mission, who told me that they're serving at least 145 people every day with hot food and supplies.
145, is that how many people are out there still in tents on the rail trail, or we're not sure?
At least that's how many they're serving on the rail trail daily. And they were also telling me that their shelters are full. There's not anywhere for these people to go, at least in the Kelowna Gospel Mission shelters. And yeah, the conditions are brutal. I was only out there for about 30 minutes and I was feeling the cold, definitely. I spoke to a nice man there who was a resident, who was explaining that the situation is pretty dire, but the community's really pulled together, showing support for them. Apparently, two young local men were down there recently and doing a barbecue for the residents, just of their own, out of their own free time, which was really sweet to hear. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there who are facing this really brutal weather.
Well, and the weather itself isn't the only danger. There was something happened there the night before you were there. Was it a fire?
Yeah, I could see the remnants of one tent that had burnt down. And apparently this is a massive risk that the city is worried about and Kelowna Gospel Mission is worried about, because people are so cold, they'll do whatever they can to keep warm. And obviously they're staying in these tents, which are easily flammable, and things like this are a constant risk. That is still under investigation as far as I'm aware, so we don't know how that fire was started, but I think we can safely assume it was something along those lines.
Did you tell me they are trying to educate some of the residents down there about proper ways to do that? Because I know fire isn't even the only real risk. Like you can get dive carbon monoxide really quickly if you're not careful with fuel sources and things in a tent.
Yeah, the city is apparently working in conjunction with the Kelowna Fire Department to give educational talks to the residents living on the rail trail, to tell them about fire safety, and they're also enforcing rules for the tents to be quite spread quite far apart, so that if one does catch fire, it's not going to catch the whole way along the line. So if you go down there, you'll see that the tents aren't as close together as they used to be. So they are trying to help in that way. In terms of keeping people warm, the city's set up school buses. If you drive down there, there'll be a couple of school buses. Well, now only from 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. Over the weekend, they did have them running up for 48 hours straight because it was so cold. But apparently, according to the city, they are only at 60% capacity. People aren't really using them. Which,
The warming buses.
Yeah, which there's 60 seats per bus. If everyone did get on those buses, it'd be pretty cramped, sat side by side. So I'm sure other people are finding different means to stay warm.
I mean, I don't remember a warm school bus from any of my days going to school. Shannon, take me back to Kamloops. What goes on? Well, like it seems like we forget that winter happens every year. We're just right back in a situation. Do you have numbers from Kamloops of how many are still left outside, and why don't they have a place yet?
So from what I understand, we have 177 overnight beds that become available, and the last time in point count was 331 bodies. So a lot of those people will stay out until it's dangerous cold, and then you'll see them coming in all at once, and there's not capacity for them. So there was a really dangerous night the other night where one agency had to go way over capacity. And then another agency shelter that is really only for day use had to take 12 people in and bring in staff from yet another agency to make this all happen. And they're running around at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why we're not prepared.
It's a scramble, right?
Yeah, every year.
Every year. All right, I guess we sort of keep pressure on BC Hydro, or sorry, BC Housing and some of these other agencies, the cities, to try to. They're all in a tough spot. I understand that as well, but we get here to, January and a cold snap like this, we still don't have it. I mean, this is why we push on these things all year long. I guess they're just sort of on their own for the most part, other than some volunteer efforts. We're going to continue to follow these stories. You can read these and more on infonews.ca.